everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Or Normal Guyz. I'm glad to have you here. I hope everyone is doing well, and welcome. The chat is open, and I've got my guest hidden backstage, and also tonight I'm being joined by the one and the only infamous Bobby Dizzle. Welcome. Dizzle is in the house. Glad to have you here. Yeah. Brenda is having some technical issues with the internet, so she is out tonight. I'm hoping she'll get it fixed and hop in before the end of the show, but hey, you never know. That's the nice thing about a live show. But tonight we got a great show. We have a special guest lined up. She is coming to us from the Midwest, and she is an animal communicator. She can speak with animals. I'm going to say psychically. That's the only way I know how to describe it. So, but we'll let her talk about it.
She's in Montana.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, well,
the West.
You remember I failed geography, right? So,
Education.
That's my GED. Without further ado, let's introduce Leslie. Leslie, welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
I'm awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, I'm glad to have you here. So I do a horrible job, apparently. I don't know the West from the Midwest, but I did remember that you were an animal communicator, at least. I got that part right, Bobby. So tell
Montana for Michigan.
Well, I mean, it's all the same. No, it starts with an M.
How dare you? I'm out.
Oh, whatever. I've insulted Alabama greater.
I know, but Montana's sacred.
Montana is very beautiful area. I actually when we were flying, I got to play some disc golf at some of the parks there. And as compared to the parks in any other part of the country, with the exception of maybe Wisconsin, I would say amazing. So I had a good time while I was out there. But enough about me. Tell us, my guests, about you, what you do, and that you're not a really creepy, weird paranormal person. I mean, you could be, but I don't think you are.
So, being an animal communicator is like a real life Dr. Dolittle. So I can, speak to animals. I can talk to animals that are alive. I can talk to ones that have crossed over. I can talk to them if they're on the other side of the world. We don't have to be face to face. So it's if you think of me kind of like a foreign language translator between you and your animals. That's basically what it is, Bobby.
Okay, that makes total sense there. Like
that's pretty amazing.
Translate for an animal. Okay,
I had to use that earlier. That's pretty amazing. Now, when they talk, do they talk like you and I are talking, or how do you? I mean, is it you hear it, you see it, or both?
So I hear it in my head. Sometimes they, are having conversations just like we're talking. Sometimes it's just words. Sometimes it's pictures. Sometimes it's feelings. Sometimes it's a combination of those things. So I usually try to communicate back to them the same way that they're communicating with me.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Now, were you born with this, or is this a learned talent, or kind of a combination of that as well?
So I was born with it, and when I was about 4 or 5, we had a dog, and I could understand what he was saying. I just talked to the dog, and I would tell my brothers and sisters, what the dog was saying or thinking. And at first, they thought it was kind of cute until after a while, I guess it got kind of annoying. And then they started to tell me it was just my imagination, and then I didn't listen to them, and my mom told me I needed to cut it out. And then I kept saying it. My mom said to me, listen, you have to stop saying this because people think you're crazy. And I got punished. So I actually shut it off for about 45 years. Wow. And then I came for my 50th birthday, I came to Yellowstone out here in the West. And I spent about 10 days, and we were, no cell phones, no TV. We were hiking and meditating and those kind of things. And then I came to Bozeman, Montana, to a grizzly bear rescue sanctuary called the Montana Grizzly Encounter. And I could hear what the grizzly bears were saying, and it totally freaked me out. And so it just all of a sudden flooded back open. I could hear them. I got pictures in my head. The director validated everything that I was getting. And she said, I don't know how you know this, but yeah, that's true. And then I had to figure out, like, why now? Why is it only Montana? Is it only grizzly bears? Because that's kind of a small, narrow clientele, you know. And I figured out that what it was is, yeah, all those days of, you know, being in Yellowstone and nature and eating good and not having the cell phone and the distraction. I think I finally quieted my mind enough after all those years that it came back open again. So what I had to do is I did have to practice. I'm not going to lie. It didn't come like, you know, super easy right away. I had to practice quieting my mind. I had to figure out, you know, which thoughts were really mine and which were theirs, because it sounds like me in my head. So it was like, are those my thoughts? Are those thoughts? Then I learned how to do it, you know, not being face to face, just using a photo. Then I talked to them, you know, after they crossed over and those kind of things. So it took a little bit of, let's call it honing. And then it just, you know, I came out of the kennel closet, as it were.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's the range when you speak to an animal? How far away is it? Or when you sense an animal speaking, how far away can you sense one? Because like if you got in a bush is it a half a mile, or you have to be like in the same little vicinity?
So I actually, you know, could be on the other side of the world. It really doesn't matter, because when you're talking to someone or communicating with them, you know, telepathically, then, you know, time and space, you know, is irrelevant.
Okay. Just wondering if it had to be like a dog you're next to or something like that. Like, oh, just talking to me?
No. Yeah. So, you know, I kind of, so for me, it's, you know, people ask me all the time, like, are animals just chatting with you constantly? And thank goodness the answer is no, because you know, I go to a lot of horse shows, you know, where there's thousands of horses, and there's, you know, I go to dog shows or pet expos. And, you know, it would be like nails on a chalkboard. So I actually have to stop and concentrate and listen. And so it's, you know, so they're not always just, you know, they probably are always communicating all the time, but just not listening, you know.
So it doesn't sound like the prayer request on Bruce Almighty, how it's just everywhere.
Right.
That was going to become my next question.
Thank goodness.
Like, how do you, like, animals are everywhere. How do you cease all that?
Yeah, tuning that out.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, I have to tune it in. So that's the good news for me.
So you said the grizzly bear was the first one you noticed after your period off from it. What was the grizzly bear saying? I'm dying to know. What do grizzly bears say?
It's awesome. So I talked to 3 of them that day, but the one that, you know, I really give all the credit to is Brutus the bear. And he had been raised since the moment he was born by Casey Anderson and Amy Otten. And he slept in bed with Amy and ate at the table. And, you know, so he was treated like a person. So he was very used to being around people. And, you know, I think he actually thought he was a person, kind of thing. But he helped me, because even though he sounded like me in my head, he had a different cadence. So he sounded like a little boy. So he would say things like, you know what? You know what? And so I knew that was different. So that helped me, number one. And then the other thing that he did that really, really helped me is I kept getting this picture in my head of him eating a candy cane and being really, really happy. And I thought, they wouldn't give a grizzly bear a candy cane. So I kept asking him again, like, what? Tell me again. And now remember, this is all going on in my head. So I'm making these faces like, what? And so Amy, the director, said to me, what is he saying? And I thought, oh, I'm not going to say this because she's going to say, you hack, get out of here. So I said to her, does he like peppermint? And she said, he loves candy canes. This grizzly bear knows when Christmas is coming. Grizzly bears have a sense of smell 7 times greater than a bloodhound. He can smell that FedEx truck coming with the candy canes on it, because his fans send him candy canes at Christmas. And she said, we'll give him a little one, or we'll give him a piece of one as a treat. We usually keep their treats kind of, natural, but at Christmas time, we'll give him some. And she said, he just loves candy canes. So that night when I was thinking about it, I thought, if I were making this up, or if this was my own thoughts, I wouldn't have come up with candy cane. No way. Because I was arguing with him about it. And I was arguing with myself, like, that's not right. And I would have come up with something stereotypical, right? Like honey or blueberries or salmon or, something that anybody would think a grizzly bear would like. It wouldn't have been a candy cane. So it was a big aha moment for me. And Brutus was a movie star. So he had his own TV show with Casey Anderson, and he did a lot of PSAs for Yellowstone about bear awareness and things like that. And so we talked about, if he was going to film, what were we doing, what was expected of him, how long was it going to take? And then, of course, their health. So the other interesting thing that not all animal communicators do, but I can, is that I can feel on my own body if they have any aches or pains. So if I'm talking to them and I ask them, show me how you feel, and my elbow hurts right here, then I know that their elbow hurts right there, and I can tell you what it feels like and how long it's been like that and how much it hurts and those kind of things. So that's also something I get a lot of calls for. Are my pets, in pain? Are they sick? If their stomach's upset, then my stomach gets upset. So, I have to allow 15 minutes between each phone call so I can meditate and get rid of that. Otherwise, I'm like, at the end of the night, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not feeling so well.
So does this mean you can't eat chocolate anymore? Okay. That was a stupid joke. I'm sorry. I don't mean to insult you. I couldn't risk it. So if you talk to the grizzly bears in the encounter there in Bozeman, have you ever talked to the ones in the park? Do they have the same kind of personality, or are they more gruff and wild?
Yeah, so they're a little bit different, because like I said, Brutus had been raised, from birth.
Yeah.
And those bears there I call them gourmet bears. They are spoiled. They are spoiled. So they have different cares than bears in Yellowstone. So I will tell you that one time there was a kind of a famous bear there named Blaze. And she, there was an employee of Yellowstone that got killed. This was a few years ago. Got killed by a grizzly bear attack. And Blaze had cubs. She's a female, and they were going to put her down because this employee got killed. And the Grizzly Bear Rescue Sanctuary was working with Yellowstone to see if, how they could help. Was there any way that they could help? What could they do? And so I talked to Blaze and I said, did you kill this man? And the answer was no. No, she did not kill this man. She did. He did come between her and her cubs, and she did hurt him, but she did not kill him. But she said that a boar, a male, came up after, and he had been kind of stalking her and her cubs, and that male killed him and started to kind of eat him and dragged him away and half buried him. So turns out that they euthanized her anyway, which was very sad. And they took her cubs and put them somewhere else. Someone took them in a sanctuary or something. So completely different, worries and cares, right? Can I have a candy cane? And I didn't kill someone. But the conversation is, the same, or the technique is the same. It's just, kind of a whole different thing. Yeah, it is awful. It was very sad. Made me just tear up.
Yeah, she gets a death sentence for nothing, and that's horrible. Yeah, well, with my uncle being a veterinarian, I always hated. I didn't want to be in the room whenever he had to do any of that, whether it was because they had to or it was just time or whatever. And I was like, I don't want to be a part of this. That was one thing I always tried to avoid. And I've tried to avoid, like we were talking backstage before the show, with the animals growing up and then with the kids and stuff too. But, that's a horrible thing. So, so you've never had one say he likes the taste of humans, they taste like chicken, or anything like that. So I'm gonna try and get us a little upbeat here. So, what's the most bizarre animal you've ever spoken to? Yeah. What's the most bizarre animal you've ever chatted with?
Well, I have a few clients that have small zoos, so I've actually talked to quite a lot. I would say one that's just a little more different is Coatimundi, which is kind of like sort of a koala, kind of raccoon, kind of lemur sort of looking animal. They're actually kind of cute. And so sort of a funny story. I was in Canada at this zoo, and there was I was at the zoo all day talking to different animals, going from enclosure to enclosure, with the zookeepers, and talking and telling them things that they wanted to know. They had a whole list of questions for each animal, and I got this call on the radio that said, come to the vet office like now. And so I was like hoofing it across the zoo to get to this office, and they kept saying, hurry, 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 hurry. And so I got there, and my husband had been calling me like all day, just because I was sort of MIA while I was busy talking to animals. And I got there to the vet office, and they said, look, that this Coatimundi is, we think it has like some sort of blockage in its urethra or something. We're not really sure. But it's like, its bladder could explode. This is like really life-threatening. The vet's here, but only has like this limited amount of time. We have to know, like, are we doing surgery? Are we not doing surgery? What are we doing? And right then, of course, my husband called for like the 6th time in a row, and I knew he'd be getting worried. So I answered the phone, and I said, I can't talk. And so we looked at it, and it actually, there was a blockage. There was a lot of pain. And so they ended up doing the surgery, and everything turned out okay. So I called him a little while later, and I said, geez, I am so sorry. I know I was kind of MIA all day, and I cut you off. And I said, that must have sounded weird. And he said, no, not from you. No, that's kind of normal.
I'm talking to a monkey.
Just a Tuesday. So, I've talked to elephants and, lions and tigers and bears and, panthers and, anything that you can mostly find in a zoo, giraffes and things like that, I've talked to. So it's pretty cool. My specialty is kind of bears, because that's sort of, where I started, but I talk to all animals.
How about meerkats? How are their personality? They look kind of spastic.
They are scrappy little suckers. They eat scorpions. Mm-hmm. So they are very scary.
They're real militant looking, and I always want to know, like, are they serious or like fun loving? That's what
they are. Super serious. Super serious. It's kind of interesting. So like when they're so only the alpha male and the alpha female are allowed to mate, and then like all the other females kind of become the nannies or the aunties, and they help raise all the kits or the pups. And so they take, they eat scorpions and stuff. So the adults will take the scorpion and rip the head off and give it to the smaller ones to learn how to kill them without, getting stung and stuff. So, they have a very strong sense of family and a very strong sense of pack. But they'll mess you up. They'll definitely mess you up.
They look like they're ready to pounce at any second. That's just the most incredible exhibit, like little.
Yeah, they're always on. They are always on.
Or saying like that all the time.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah. Have you ever had one threaten you, or have you ever had one threaten you or anybody else?
No. Luckily, no. I've only, seen them at the zoo in a safe, kind of environment.
Sure.
So the only thing I ever came across was I was at a zoo and I was walking around with a walkie, and they said, "There's a wildebeest loose. There is a wildebeest loose." And I walked around the corner and I found the wildebeest. And luckily, it was kind of one of those, I mean you no harm. And I started, just backing up slowly, and it was fine. It just stood there. It was, crunching in grass. It didn't really care about me. So I just said, "I'll be back." And just kind of left.
I'm going for backup. Wow. So have you, assume you've talked to snakes and things like that as well?
I have. I'm going to be really honest. Not my favorite. I really don't enjoy, and it's probably because we are born with a fear of snakes. Everybody is born with a fear of snakes. You actually have to lose it. You have to lose that fear. I have not lost that fear.
Me either.
Not lost that fear.
Not a fan.
So, yeah. So they're not my favorite things. So because of that, I don't really like talking to them. And I have talked to lizards, bearded dragons, things like that. Still not my favorite, not because I'm really afraid of them. It's just, the conversations are more about environment, and things like that. They're not really that exciting. So I will, especially if they're not feeling well, or somebody has, I have a client that is like, they're not doing well, or can you ask them, what it is they need or something like that. I'm certainly willing to do it. But snakes are just not my favorite. I kind of prefer the cute furry ones, that are like, oh. But I have I did talk to a caiman one time, which is like a small alligator or crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
So there's alligators, crocodiles, and caimans. They're all in the same genus. And that was kind of interesting.
I would imagine so. Yeah. I saw a video of a paramedic. I'm a paramedic, so I follow a bunch of paramedic things. And that he had come upon in his hiking a rattlesnake that was dehydrated, and he was giving it water out of his water bottle. The snake was actively rattling at him, but and it's drinking out of his water bottle. And I'm thinking to myself, you're hiking, you're in the middle of the woods, you're a paramedic, you know better. Ooh, I would not do that, but he had no fear. I saw
that video this weekend.
So did you see it too? Yeah.
Also saw a live rattlesnake this weekend too.
Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan.
Big timber rattler. Good size one. Had 13 rattles, I think.
Ooh.
Big one.
Wow.
When I lived in Washington, D.C. as a child, we didn't have them. And it wasn't until I moved to Knoxville that I found out about timber rattlers. I didn't know the South had snakes.
What?
And yeah, I did not know. Well, I meant rattlesnakes. I know we had snakes. We had water moccasins and things like that up north. But when we were out on a wildfire, I stepped right over a timber rattler's nest during the middle of the wildfire, and all the other firemen were like, "You're pretty brave." And I'm like, "What? What'd I do?" I had no idea. So yeah, I won't say deadly afraid, but I have a very healthy respect. And I've ran calls from people who've been bitten and been very sick from timber rattlers. So yeah, I'm not a fan. Kevin S in the fan in the chat has asked if it's about environment because they may be ectothermic. So I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's probably true.
Yeah, they don't really have a lot of needs other than staying warm and having a mouse every now and then. Not exactly wanting to play fetch.
Yeah,
Well,
you said, was it Deacon that said nope? So I've heard snakes called nope ropes.
yep, yep,
Here's the
yep.
deal with me and snakes. I'm terrified of them when they're next to me, but if I can see them and get like in a safe distance, I'm fascinated. Like by the reptile house. Like my favorite snake charm is like a pump shotgun just in case. But whenever I can see a snake and get near it, like if I can get up next to the truck and look out, I'll sit there for a half hour. But I don't want no part of them. I don't know they're there. If they surprise me, it's over. They're dead. I don't care what they are.
The surprise is kind of the worst part, right? And yeah, so I've been at the zoos and stuff, and I saw really beautiful snakes, and they are really interesting and stuff. But yeah, I still get skeeved out.
I can't even touch the shedded skin. I can't touch the shedded skin. I can't do it.
Me either. Yeah.
No. Yeah, and some snakes eat other snakes, like cobras eat snakes.
King snakes and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think black snakes will eat the venomous snakes. Yeah, this spring up at Mom's, there was like a 16-foot rat snake. And, they're just black snakes. And I didn't want to hurt the thing, but it knew that was its yard. And no matter what, I would like pick it up with sticks and stuff, and I would like shoo it off until the point where it was getting pissy and acting like a cobra trying to strike back at me. I'm like, look, let me explain how this works. I own bang sticks. Just stay away from the back porch, the front porch. We can get along fine. The cars.
Don't scare me.
Yeah. Well, we went out and I don't know how they do it, but they can stick to like the side of bricks and things. And it was in the morning. The sun is all along the back of the house, and she has like a little ledge there from where the bricks are lined up. And it was laying there with its head at the back door, eye level. And of course, when you turn, you see it, and this thing, it's long, black, and as long as the side of the house, scared the hell out of me. I'm like, yeah, no.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was just sunning, and I knew what it was doing, and I didn't want to kill it because to get that big, it had to be that old, pretty old, but good Lord, leave me alone. And then when I would like shoo it off.
16 feet.
Yeah, I measured it by the bricks. That's the only way I knew, because I marked it, which window it was. And it had, Mom's like, oh, that snake's been here for years. I'm like, nope. She's like, yeah, it's on the back porch. It's on the front porch. I'm like, nope. Not while I'm staying here. Ain't.
That's got to be some kind of a record. That's huge.
It was a monster. So, but at any rate.
By then I would make it pay rent.
Yeah, that's what I told Mom. I was like, she's like, well, 1 year I had him in the closet. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, my Aunt Mary, which is the wife of the veterinarian, she just picked him up and carried him out. And I'm like, nope. There would have been holes in the floor.
Yeah. So I'm with you, Deacon. They serve a purpose, right? Rat snakes mean, no rats. And, so it's a balance. It's a balance for sure. And I don't go around, killing snakes. I've never killed a snake, but I have a healthy respect, like I think you said, Bobby, and I just don't prefer to talk to them. That's the good thing about owning your own business. You can pick your clients.
That's true.
I don't do snakes.
No snakes, please.
When I worked on the range on the military base, we'd have the ATVs out there and the Hummers, and you could get close to all kinds of giant snakes. You couldn't kill them. It's a military base. Basically a national park as far as animals go. You can't do anything to them. And so you'd see all kinds of giant snakes. I saw what do you say, cottonmouth? It had a head size of that mouse, if not bigger. It was the size of a snuff can. It was huge. That's the biggest cottonmouth I've ever seen in my life. It looked like a kid's football.
Good Lord.
Crawling around.
Well, I was kind of impressed that you said venomous snakes instead of poisonous, because a lot of people get that wrong. So that was pretty good. I
pride myself in the use of venomous and poisonous theory and hypothesis. There's a difference.
There you go.
That's funny.
I know the difference too. What kind of snake is that? Shoot it. It looks like a Pokemon. Shoot it. They have the vipers and the slant eyes. You can tell it's venomous.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, but so growing up, the kids had all kinds of other things like hamsters and things like that. And so luckily none of them asked for any strange critters. So my cousin does have it's a white snake of some kind, and he thinks the thing is amazing. I'm like, no. Feeds it like frozen rats or something. I'm like, no. So I was lucky. Do you ever talk to fish? Like Aquaman? I know it's probably a stupid question.
It's not a stupid question. I have not like Aquaman necessarily,
Aquaman.
but I have I have talked to fish. I talked to this goldfish. There was one of my clients had a little thing of like a little terrarium or whatever of aquarium of goldfish on their desk. And so I talked to them, and they were actually little happy guys. They were like singing and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Really?
So what does that mean? Check your message.
I just got sent video by somebody that they had, and I'm kind of.
This is Glenn's personal email account you're in right now.
Yeah. Somebody came in there and
basically his admin assistants right now.
Yeah. He has video that I'm asking if he could come on and explain this video. I will share it in the 9 o'clock hour. That's pretty odd video. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that, or not 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock hour. So
I have one selfish question. I'm going to get off the table so get by it. I can get by it and not ask it again. Have you ever had messages or transmissions, for lack of a better word, from a cryptid and or Bigfoot?
Told you.
That's all I'm going to say.
No.
I'm going to move on.
Let me tell you why. So my husband is very big into the paranormal. When he was a child, he went and saw mysterious monsters, and that kind of flipped on his switch about the excitement about the paranormal, from 9 years old. And so he does a lot of research on Bigfoot and things like that. And he, is always talking to me about these kind of things. And he is not absolutely convinced that they're not maybe fallen angels. And so I don't want to open up that realm.
That is one
because that's one theory, right?
Yes. Yeah. And we've heard that both of us have. So
that's kind of a smart idea, because you could really open up a can of worms.
Yes, exactly. So unless I see one, I don't plan on communicating with it at the moment. Not that I have, not that I don't believe or anything like that. It's just I think it's too dangerous, not knowing enough.
Okay, that's a good answer.
That makes sense. That makes sense too, because like you said, once you open that window or door or whatever, you don't know what you could attract, because I'm sure if an animal wanted to get your attention, it could very easily. So, and if a lot of the things they say is true, once they know that you have basically receipt of the message, they will come to you. So
yeah, from the anecdotal things I've heard about Bigfoot and their attachment to a person, once they realize that you can see or hear or aware of them, they kind of are like a lost puppy in a way. They just follow. First thing they see is their mother.
Right.
And I know it's a side question or side topic, but a friend claims to have actually done that. And he gets these messages all the time that are just like weird things. And he said that one of them told him he was a prisoner on Mars. And he's like, I don't know that I want to know this, So, I mean, I don't know that I believe any of these things, but
I don't know if I do either, but I'll take all they can give me. I'll listen all day.
Yeah.
I'll stay up all night if you can talk to me about that.
And a Facebook user asked, have you ever communicated with tracking dogs? I don't know if they mean like hunting dogs or if they mean like police or DEA, DHS type of dogs. I'm not sure. So maybe you could kind of broadly answer that.
Yes to both.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've talked to search and rescue dogs that find cadavers. I've talked to rescue dogs that are searching for lost people. I've talked to tracking dogs that track like mountain lions and things like police. Okay. Yeah, I have some canine clients as well, which is kind of cool. And so, yes, I have.
Now, just answer me this one, humor me on this one. Please tell me that the police dogs enjoy their job, because I swear when I see the videos, not only am I laughing, and as a paramedic, having been on these calls, it looks like the dog's really enjoying itself. Maybe too much, in fact.
Yes, usually all the ones I've talked to so far, yes. And I think it's because, they go through such vigorous training that they can flunk out if they're not that like specific mindset, Okay. And so they have to, they have to have a certain personality, just like you do if you're going to be a leader dog for the blind, or if you're going to be a service dog or emotional support dog or whatever, So yeah, I haven't, and they're treated, super well. Mm-hmm. So I haven't really come across any that had any complaints.
Yeah, and one question I always had for that, whenever I would show up and there would be something that was out there, where they've been used, my thing is the dog's just kind of running loose. I was like, how does he know the difference between me and the bad guy? I never could figure that out. So luckily, I've never been bit.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? If you don't hear the music,
drug dogs know they're not.
Yeah, there you go. Plus, if you ever watch Cops, it's always the guy that's not wearing a shirt. So as long as you're wearing a shirt and you're not playing the music, you're probably safe.
That's true. And Deacon asked, do the search and rescue dogs get disappointed when they don't find a missing person?
Some of those dogs are really, really diligent. Like bloodhounds will go until they pass out, so sometimes, they have to be switched out for other dogs. And I have talked to them and they're like, let me back in. Because they're on a track and that's their job, right? I mean, not even that we've given them the job, that's their, breeding and their, their ancestry. And so sometimes, they're like, let me back in there, coach. It's like, I can do it. But they'll get dehydrated, they'll pass out, they'll get sick. And so they kind of have, I just lost power or something. There we go. Oof, that was scary. It was a Bigfoot.
We did it.
We brought in the aliens.
Wouldn't be the first time they ruined one of my podcasts.
There you go. So they do it in this like staggered thing where they'll have, two dogs or two or three dogs, and then they'll take one out and let the other two, keep going because they still have the original scent and, that kind of thing.
Ooh, Temple Grandin. She's amazing.
I'm going to say I don't know what Temple Grandin is. So.
Yeah, man. She is autistic, but really smart. And she learned to see the world in the eyes of a cow and stop. And she did like a thing. It stopped. I'm bringing the show to a complete halt here, but it stopped cattle. It stopped cattle from stopping and making like a bottleneck when they're trying to go through a chute. She'd get down. She's like a genius. Just like the Elon Musk of cattle. I swear to God. Look it up. She gave a TED talk. It's amazing. Wow. She's not a psychic or anything, but she got down and started crawling through the chute and could look up. She goes, they see that over there and think it's a person, so they stop. And so they put these things like a blinder on the chute and they just go straight through. Excellent TED talk if you don't see it. Temple Grandin.
That's amazing. So, no, I haven't. I'll have to look that up.
There's a whole movie about
her. Cows are super amazing. I love cows. They're like big dogs. They are they're funny. They have a great sense of humor. They're very loving. There's an animal sanctuary I work with in Michigan. It's called PEAS, PEAS. It stands for Pan Equus Animal Sanctuary. And they usually they started off with horses, and then they kind of end up taking cows and goats and sheep and all kinds of things. But anyway, there's this big, huge cow there named Barney. And Barney loves to lick people. And so he came up behind me and he licked my hair and basically almost like pulled it out of my head because their tongue is so like coarse and everything. But he kept like nudging me and nudging me. And then he has a buddy named Henu who came and was pushing me along with his head because they wanted to play. They just wanted to play. And so, they're just like, it was just like a big giant dog, but they're hilarious. And, so probably one of the reasons why I'm a vegetarian, well, it is the reason I'm a vegetarian, is because I can't talk to these beautiful souls and then eat them. I was
wondering.
I'm afraid that, I'm afraid that they'll look up and say, "Why, Leslie? Why?"
How's your delicious, Frank?
Yeah.
You're delicious.
Yeah. Had to give it up. So.
And my uncle was a veterinarian, and we had cows all the time that people couldn't pay their bill or whatever, and they'd be like, "All right, we'll give you a calf." Or, we had a whole farm of everything. And there was a couple of them that he raised that, from like bottle up. And one or two of them would just like, if the door was left open when I was a kid, I didn't know we'd leave a door open. Cow would just come right in and be like, "Hey, what's going on in here?" They were like big dogs. And then, he's like, "Yeah, don't get too attached to that. You're going to be having it next summer." So, yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, I can understand that. And one other thing he taught me, and I always thought it was true, and then when I studied anatomy and physiology, I kind of started questioning it, is he said all animals, he was a professor at the University of Tennessee, all animals have the instinct ability to communicate with each other, and at that time they weren't clear on if they could communicate with, like, bees could talk to bears and such. I think now we've pretty much said that they can in a way, but he said one thing to realize is even though they have a tiny little brain, an insect or a Chihuahua dog, and you got a Saint Bernard, he said it's always the same. They always have the same stuff that we do and the same personality. They all have a personality. They all have a persona, and not only do they have a task in their life, they also have a purpose. And that was one thing he always instilled in me. And I was wondered, so when you talk from one animal to another and like, we'll just say maybe a small animal to a large animal, do you notice any difference in any, maybe, I don't want to call it IQ, but communication form or intellect?
No, I'll be honest, there are some like dogs that are like uber smart, and there are some that are just like, "Hey, how are you?" And I'm sure that's the same in like, all realms, but they all have, a higher capacity, and they're all able to communicate with me. Like I said, Brutus kind of sounded like a little boy, but I think that's like part of his personality. He was just like this very happy, playful, grizzly bears tend to be kind of goofballs in a way, and, so I think a lot of times the way they talk to me is showing me their persona. But, I would say there are some animals, like I talked to some elephants, and they were like very evolved and they talk very high level, where cats are like, I hate you. No.
Ooh, shiny. I'll be right back.
They're more, it just, like I said, it depends on your needs. Everybody has different needs, so they communicate about different things. The elephant didn't need to know, what was for dinner, that kind of thing. But elephants are super amazing. They, I feel like they're healers of the earth. I feel like when they walk, they're healing the earth as they walk, because they have to walk like 25 miles a day or they get sores. It's kind of the opposite of us. If we walk 25 miles a day, we would get sores. If they don't walk, they get sores. And so they're just like really beautiful creatures. And there was this story, you probably saw it on the internet, where there was this man who millions of acres, or I mean, it's like a huge sanctuary, and he rescued a bunch of them and helped them, get into this sanctuary so they'd be safe. And when he was laying dying, like all of these animals, all of these elephants from all these different packs came from different areas of the sanctuary and came and stood outside his door. Like they knew, first of all, that he was dying. And second of all, they knew, where to go, and they came to, like kind of express their sorrow. So, they're just super amazing. And there was another story about, unlikely friends, and this elephant and this dog somehow became friends, and the dog got sick and was in the animal hospital, and the elephant stood outside the animal hospital for days until the dog, came out. So just really loyal, beautiful creatures. And, I used to write an article for a magazine, and it was all about my life as an animal communicator and different animals and things like that. And I wrote one of the articles, like I'm really most proud of, is about elephants. And lately I did that for like 5.5 years. And then they've been just sitting there on my computer, like gathering dust. And so recently I said, I gotta do something with these. I can't just let them sit here. So I started a podcast. And so each episode of the podcast is a different article that I wrote about different animals. And so, I think I need to dust off the one about the elephants since we're talking about it. We've been,
I bet that is interesting.
Now it's on the forefront.
Yeah.
What's
it
the
is.
podcast
It's
called?
about, it's called I Speak to Animals.
Okay.
To the point.
And they're easy. They're 15 minutes or less, and you can listen to them in any order. Just listen to the trailer first, which is less than 5 minutes. So you can listen to it when you're taking a shower, or getting ready for work, or going to the grocery store.
Well, that's cool. Well, I think you get 2 subscribers already. So, because I love to listen to
They're
other
not
people's
cool
stuff.
and hip and trendy, like that's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it. So I think I need to bring out the one about the elephants. It's actually, kind of a sad story in a way. It's about how 96 elephants a day get killed in Africa. So
96?
That's
How are there
a
that
lot.
many
So
elephants?
96.
Yeah, that's what I was
Crazy.
thinking too. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, they're already endangered, I believe. So.
Yeah, and that's just in Africa. Their elephants are elsewhere as well. Who knows how many are getting killed there?
True. Yeah, and I think they're probably, one of the animals that is closest to the beginning of time, so that we can relate to. So, yeah, and I wonder too, and you might know the answer to this: do they pass knowledge from and besides for just typical like how to feed yourself, how to clean yourself, do they pass like a history like we do to their youth? Any animal?
They do. And who else does? You're going to laugh. Is yes, they do kill them for profit. They kill them for their tusks. So what they've been doing proactively is cutting off their tusks or dyeing them pink so that they're worthless. It's just horrible. But anyway, so I talked to a whale one time, and they told me that they were keepers of history.
Really?
So that's definitely passed down.
Wow. That would be interesting. If my uncle always said if we ever developed a way of communicating with them, we would find out lots of things. So, I don't know that back when he passed away in the early 90s. I don't know that, there was anyone such as you that was out and about public about it at that time. So
Probably not. Probably still in the kennel closet, like me.
Well, because so many people get freaked out when you say you talk to something that's out of the norm. That's the paranormal, and it's weird.
Yeah.
I just think it's wrong to put it. Well, it's just another label that people put on you, but don't get me going on that. But now,
it's true. I mean, I hid it for a long time. So, people are like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I'm skeptical." I'm like, "Listen, I didn't believe it myself for 45 years, so I can't really blame you for being skeptical."
Other than the candy cane thing, has there ever been like an instance where you like proved it in front of somebody and just like freaked everybody out?
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to a 17-year-old kid who said to me, "Ma'am, I'm really sorry, but I'm very skeptical. I'm not sure I really believe this." And I said, "Listen, if you feel like you're not getting your money's worth, then I won't charge you." And he's like, "I'd appreciate that." So I talked to him about his horse. And I said to him, "Your horse wants to tell you that you've grown 1.5 feet in the last 9 months, and that you need to not just adjust your stirrups, you need to adjust how you sit in the saddle and where your center of gravity is and all that kind of stuff." And he went, "I believe you." So those are always the fun ones. When I go to shows and stuff, I have an assistant, Jen, and she always says, "We love skeptics. We flip them." So
that's great. Well, it's okay to be skeptical, I guess. Just don't be rude. I think that's
exactly. Just just be open and just be honest. That's all I ask.
Yeah, I mean, and that was kind of the basis of this show. Is one of us believed in the para and the other one believed in the normal, so we'd argue with each other during the guest. But we've branched out and have everything from rock stars to wrestlers to authors to we have everything on here. So and that's,
don't forget the hooker. We had the hooker on there one time.
Okay, she wasn't technically a hooker; she was a sex
Don't leave
worker.
that out.
There are people too. There are people too.
We have an open mic for anyone that has a voice and has a story that we can put out. So it was a great story. So
okay, controversy time.
Oh,
can plants at all communicate with us?
Ooh, good question.
Yep. So technically, I am a interspecies communicator, which means that I can communicate with other species such as plants and things like that. I mean, they're living beings, right? But I'm going to tell you, it's really not my. She was legal. It's really not my forte. But I did have a tree in my yard that was not doing really well. It had, got root bound or something, and they wanted me to cut it down. It was too close to the house, so I'm not gonna lie, I went out and hugged it and talked to it, and I said, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I have to take you down, but I think that I don't want to see you slowly die." And so I guess for my own sense of being, I had to do that.
I mean, they have voices like animals, or just like a feeling?
From them, it was more of a feeling, like it was okay. And I'm sure they do have voices. It's just something I haven't practiced or really gotten good at. I've just more with animals. But
I figured I have some
I
kind
feel
of
like
going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's all a vibrational, kind of thing, right? I mean, yeah. And if you think about it, not that I've tried this, but rocks and stones and crystals and things like that, all have vibrations and energy. Mm-hmm. And, if you remember, in the old days, they used to have watches that would say 17 joule, right? Because they would put sapphires and diamonds and stuff in the watch, and that would make it run. It ran on the energy of the stones, which is, so we have like liquid crystal, monitors and things like that. So, and there are ways to test, vibrational levels of people and things, and they've tested, different things, and they show different vibrational levels and stuff like that. So I'm sure some people can. I'm not one of them yet, I guess. Never say never, right?
Oh, I think you have enough to tune out.
Yeah, that's somebody else's job at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
If the broccoli is uncomfortable, that's somebody else's problem.
Yeah, because I don't want to talk to them, because then what am I going to eat?
Yeah,
I'm down to like almost nothing now. So
I was hoping you'd say they were very sensitive. I was going to tell my vegan cousin that what now? Now what are you going to eat? Now who's exploiting something?
Yep.
Oh my gosh,
soy boy.
There you go.
So when you're out in the forest, and I know you say you tune it out, but can you tune it in and hear what they're saying amongst each other? Kind of like if you were in a subway or something?
I haven't done that. I really am just like sending them things and getting things back. So they kind of have to send it to me. So I don't really overhear what they're saying. It's really just sort of a one-on-one, communication.
Okay.
I have
so it's
had,
not like a chatter,
people say to me all the time, do you do this with people? Right. And so, they say, do you do this with people? And I'm like, well, no, I don't need to, because I can, usually talk to people. I have made a couple of exceptions. I talked to someone who was elderly, Alzheimer patient, nonverbal, and talked to them. That was actually really super helpful. And a newborn baby who couldn't, speak, and that worked, but that's not my usual thing. And I don't like to talk to dead people. But I have had animals say, Uncle Herb said, something, and I'm like, oh, Bobby, your Uncle Herb, your dog is saying that Uncle Herb said something. So I'll pass messages along. I just don't like to talk to them directly. And that's just a personal preference thing. There's other people that excel at that. I'll stay in my lane. My lane is animals. I'll talk to animals. If you want someone to talk to a dead person, I got a name for you. So
cool.
Got a POC.
So a Facebook user asked if the bees mind if we eat their honey.
They're not super thrilled with that, I got to be honest. It's kind of like stealing their stash.
Okay.
Because it also most of the time it also disturbs their home. So there are very I don't want to be too generic. There are very sensitive beekeepers that take the honey in a very humane way, but most of the time it does disturb the hive, or it does disturb the comb, which is like coming in and knocking down your walls in your house. So they're not super thrilled about that. No.
Yeah. There's no easy way to do that.
Mm-mm. At my wife's work, they have established a bee colony to help in Atlanta. It's a big issue. And they've had a problem here lately with they've come in, there's just been mass bee deaths, and they can't figure out why. And so they started researching this. Some of her coworkers did. And apparently that's been a common thing around the world here in the past few weeks, is there's just been mass bee deaths. Any idea or input? I mean, since we're on bees here.
I haven't talked to them directly because I'll just be honest, I'm kind of sensitive, and I just feel like it would hurt to hear the answer. But I'm wondering if it's all these chemical spills that have been happening. There's been so many train derailments. Spilling chemicals into waterways, which is kind of ironic that they all have done that. They all happen to end up in the river. But anyway, that's a different episode.
We're not above conspiracy theories either. Yeah.
So
I'm with you. It's probably a situation with the environment. So, and even with whatever is burning in Canada that's floating our way, or whatever may not be burning and then's in the air. So, yeah. And somebody asks, have you ever had communications with ET? Ooh, good question.
not that I know of, not purposely. If you, I guess we could do a whole episode on, conspiracy theories, but, if you believe that there's, reptile people and fallen angels and Nephilim and, all that walking around looking like disguised as us,
Ooh, yeah.
then I guess it's possible, but not intentionally.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm not really sure what that would open,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and if that you brought that up, and you think about that, but there's people that do claim that there are reptilian beings that mask or camouflage themselves as humans. Mm-hmm. That would be really weird to open that door and then be like, okay, so she knows us now, it's okay, and just relax their walls around you, or skin, I guess, around you. It would be really weird. So.
Oh man, it'd be like that movie.
That would be weird, and knowing, and how much I love reptiles.
Me too.
Where you like, reincarnation on that note?
How do I believe in it with animals?
Or where are you at? Do you believe in it or at all, or where you?
So animals have told me that that they can come back in another body. I feel like if they can, we probably do too. So, what always cracks me up though, just to be like really transparent, is that, people always say, oh yeah, in a previous life I was Cleopatra. And it's like, it's amazing how many people were like kings and queens and, really famous people, but nobody was like, I was Joe the plumber, I was a schlub,
I was a raging alcoholic.
I was a serial killer or something. Exactly. So I'm sure it's probably true. I don't know what, mine are, or if I have any, but, I believe in those stories where like little kids all of a sudden start telling their parents stories about, their previous lives and things like that. I think that kids, are much more open, which is probably why I could talk to animals when I was a kid. And, I think that they're you're a schlub, Deacon. Deacon Schlub. I think it's possible. Yeah, I do. I think it's possible. I have never done a past life regression to find out, but I doubt that I would have been Cleopatra. I don't have the cheekbones for it. So.
A lot of Cleopatras and a lot of pharaohs out there, I'm telling you.
Yeah, kings and queens. Is it the soul being that is that the soul that's being passed, and can that soul pass from animal to humans? Oh, good question.
That's deep.
That is a good question. So yes, it is the soul that's being passed, and I've had like rare instance where an animal told me that it used to be a person. It was a dog, and they said that this person just had like a really kind of tough life where they were always on their own and no one ever took care of them, and they were always taking care of everybody else, and they wanted the opposite. They wanted to be taken care of and have a kind of a carefree life. I have talked to a dog that said it was a horse at one time in one of its lives. But a lot of times what they tell me is that they don't always want to come back into a physical body, at least not right away, because, anything could happen. Like, I know everybody says, oh, come back and come to me. Well, they'll tell me, well, what if someone else comes and picks me up before you get there? Or what if I get pneumonia and die? It's like, it's not set in stone that just because I get into a body and, be born again, that we're going to be together. I mean, fate a lot of times does bring that together, and they say that there's soul contracts and things like that I don't really quite understand. But it's risky. It's risky. Let's just put it that way. It's, definitely risky. But, I feel like there are people that you meet that you're like, oh yeah, I knew we were going to be friends. You're just like friends right away, or you really care about them right away. And, they say, again, we could have another whole episode about this, but they say that, you have these soul contracts, and it's, you basically travel life after life after life with the same people, just in different roles. So one time I'd be the mother, you'd be the son. The next time I'd be the son, you'd be the father. Next time we'd be, siblings or something. So it, changes up. So I don't know if that's true or not. But there's a couple of books about it. So I don't know.
True. No audio, Bobby. Broke your audio.
The kid was screaming. I'm sorry. I said there's a couple books about it. Dog's Life and What Dreams May Come. That always make me sad.
Yeah, I tried to watch a couple of those movies on an airplane and turned it off in the first 10 seseconds. I'm like, no, I don't want to cry on a plane. I don't like sad movies. And you know how they say, I'm okay unless a dog dies in a movie or something. That's me. I'm like,
yeah, me too.
You ever seen the movie The Cellar from back in the 80s or 90s?
Cellar, no.
Yeah, it's a horror movie about they dug this cellar and it had like a demon in it. And I remember at one point it killed like a whole litter of puppies. And I remember crying like crazy about it. I was little. I'm like, why would you kill a puppy? It ate all the puppies.
Really.
See why this made you the way it was, Bobby. If the soul moves, is that the consciousness?
Yes, I believe so. I believe it's kind of the chi, or in Japanese it'd be the ki. That moves, and it is the consciousness and the energy that goes with it. Because energy, physics prove that energy cannot dissipate; it can only change forms, which is why I believe we live on. And do I believe in remote viewing? Yes, absolutely, I do. The reason I say that is because when I ask an animal to show me how it's feeling, I feel like I'm kind of in the animal's body, and that's why I can feel, I sort of step into their body, and that's why I can feel the pain, and, I get sick or whatever they're feeling. And then as well, sometimes if I'm checking their sight, I'll say, show me what you see. And, I can see that if it's this eye's really blurry, or this eye, I can't see at all, or I've lost my peripheral vision, or, and I do the same with their hearing, yeah, they can hear fine, or no, this ear sounds like this, or, whatever it might be. So I believe that's kind of all remote viewing. I wish, and I probably could, I just need to actually try this. I think I need to expand it to help find lost animals and things like that, where I could, see what they see. A lot of times I can ask them what they see, but they'll say, oh, I see trees and I see some grass, and I see, and it's like, that's not helpful, So I missed that question. I'm sorry.
It was Deacon saying that she, hold on, push a button here. She said that she believes that because she felt like her daughter, she'd been waiting for her daughter to arrive back into her life, like she was longing for a spirit. Interesting. And then Todd says the soul has weight, bodies weigh less after death, and the soul leaves. That is true.
Wow.
There is a
wasn't that debunked?
Well, they taught it. Well, of course, I went to paramedic school in 1985. So, I mean, they taught it to us then.
Oh, so. I thought you were going to say Uruguay or something.
No.
It was paramedic school.
It was just Georgia. It was close enough.
I don't think that actually happened. I know what he's talking about. I'd like to say it happened, but I don't think it actually did. They
taught it in our A&P class. I don't, but I never followed up with it.
it was the preamble for a Dan Brown book.
That's true.
So
Yeah, that is true.
Angels and Demons. I can't remember which one. Digital Fortress. Yeah, it was. That was a
yeah.
preamble for a Dan Brown book.
Yeah, you're right. Let's see here. So, is that like familiar? And do you think people like you inspired that fantasy trope? I don't know what they mean by that. I'll have to clarify that question.
So, yeah, please do, because I'm kind of not.
I'm
sorry, I'm not understanding what they.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We haven't been getting a lot of Facebook comments until recently, and sometimes I do come in jarbled up. So, I don't know.
Obviously, someone is way smarter than I am. So, can you dumb it down, and I'll try and answer.
Hey, you got 2 master's degrees, I believe, don't you? So.
I'll look it up.
Okay, I'll let Bobby's.
Apparently, I need a third.
Well, my GED didn't work either, so it's okay. Somewhere in between, Bobby's got us. I know you don't have a lot of time left. I was going to ask you. I sent you some information about my pack here, my wolf pack. Anything interesting, or she's breaking out a thesaurus here?
No, I'm bringing up the pictures that you sent me.
Gotcha.
Just for complete transparency. So you sent me a picture of your cat Squatch, and just so everyone knows, what you sent me was I asked for their name, how old they are, and how long you've had them, and that's all I asked, right? And so, you sent me a picture of your dog Ginger, who's backwards.
My hellhound, yes.
And your hellhound. So Ginger says that she is very, very smart, but she says that it does not shine through a lot of times because she has a stubborn streak. And she says that she also, it has a very strong work ethic. And if she doesn't get to do her job, then she gets very anxietous and it gets even more, I guess a little more, I'm trying to think of the word she's trying to use. Unhelpful. But she's super smart, like she said. And but here's the thing, which I didn't expect, is she thinks she has a very funny sense of humor.
She does think she's a princess.
She does get, well, she says she's in charge. She is in charge. So, but here's the funny thing. So you also sent me a picture of Millie. And they are like complete opposites of each other.
Yes, they are.
They cannot be more different, except for they're both dogs. I mean, that's like their only similarity. Millie is like very grateful. She's very wanting to please. She's very loving and goofy. And so, Millie's much more like she doesn't like change. Ginger doesn't like change. She likes things the same way. She wants things like on a schedule. Where Millie's kind of like, whatevs, it's like, just rub my belly, I'll be fine. So those were the things that jumped out real fast at me.
Okay. Squatch, anything with him, the cat? I didn't think he'd give you anything, so.
Squatch hates you. I'm sorry.
It's probably true. That's what I worried. I told my wife, I said at dinner tonight, I said, what if she comes up and tells me the animals want to kill me in my sleep?
He can't wait to eat. He can't wait to eat and decompose in your recliner.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're gonna speak of vetoes. No. Actually, Squatch says, okay, he says he's not stereotypical for a cat. He says that sometimes he often acts dog-like. So he said that he's more interactive. He says that he's cuddly or will come if you call. He follows you around. So would you say that he acts more, kind of dog traits?
Yeah, he's poly. Oh crap! I done forgot polydactyl. Yeah, and he definitely he knows he's in charge of the house. So yeah, that's pretty. That's
polydactyl?
It's a Hemingway cat, and they got more toes. The 6-footed cats. Yeah, he's
cats. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I got it. That's why I call him Squatch, because he's got actually 22 toes. So
oh,
he's a monster. He is a monster. He would eat you alive. If he got on you, he would. So with his claws, at least. I mean, in there, he keeps them sharp. So, but that's cool.
Order a Hemingway cat? How do you get a cat like that?
He was. I don't say he was a rescue, but we got him from. Well, we pulled him off the streets of Tennessee. It's a funny story about the polydactyl cats. The first one I had was Clausy, and he came up with the kids, and he was here all throughout their life, and he was a great cat, and it was just had a loving personality and everything. I mean, he was like the super one. Well, the way I got him when I started in as a paramedic, there was a house across the street that was abandoned, and we would often leave out food for the cats because there was plenty of cats over there. We came back from a call one night, and there was a kitten laying in the road that had been squished, and its partner, the other kitten, was out there trying to get it to wake up, and I could tell what it was doing. And so I was like, we got to get this other cat out of the road. And I brought it in the station, and we kept it at the station. And so long story short, I took it home with me, and that was Clausy. It was my first Hemingway cat. And after that, I said, well, they have such personality because they think and you may have ran into this before, they think that they're not invincible, but they think that they're bigger and badder. The cats already have an attitude, but they think they're bigger and badder because they got the extra toes. But Clausy was a big old huggy bear. But so I said, well, I know where there's a community of them in Tennessee if there's any more that are wandering the streets. So I made a few phone calls in Tennessee, and somebody called me and said, hey, ironically, there's like one we've got to get rid of, and where it's going to go to the pound if you don't take it. And so I'm calling my mom in Knoxville. I'm like, Mom, go get that cat. And so that's how we got Squatch. So long story short, not that anybody cared, but I have a soft spot for animals, and I guess it's because of my uncle and, always being around them. Because, I mean, growing up, we had raccoons, possums, owls, all kinds of feathered creatures. And I to this day believe that he probably, Bobby, you'll have to correct me on this, but what is it? Habitated, what he fed Bigfoots. I really believe that because of some of the things I've learned later in life. So, wow. So I have a really soft spot for animal here. Bobby, did I miss any questions while she was giving me anything here in the chat?
Not really. I was basically roasting you in the comments. So it's a,
oh, so was you? Okay. All right.
I'm over here talking to everybody.
And I did want to ask if you could find out one thing from Millie for me. And this is totally off topic. She is a rescue, and we think that she may have been a bait dog. We're not sure because she came from a really bad neighborhood, and she is scared of everything. The fan scares her. A bowl on the floor that's unfamiliar. Is there anything we can do to make her not so scared, or anything that she isn't scared of?
She says, well, it's kind of, she said, I'm jumpy anyway, she said, I'm kind of flinchy. So she says that it's kind of hard. I was wondering if maybe like CBD oil might help, because that kind of takes the edge off and it's natural. And you can, but for like anxiety and things, you have to give it to them, every day. So it sort of builds up in their system. but she said, it's all so knee jerk. And she says it's kind of like someone coming up behind you and going boo, and you being startled, and then saying, no, just don't be startled. It's like, well, but I'm reacting before I think. So she's thinking that maybe like just taking the edge off a little bit might help. And with CBD oil, it's kind of nice because it's natural.
It's basically just told me my dog wants to get stoned. I like that.
No, CBD doesn't have the psychotropic.
I know. That's cool though. Yeah, okay.
Well, she did say whatevs earlier.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me. So, all right. Cool. I'll tell my wife that because that's great. Let's see. You may have covered what is a range of communication, and is it farther with different animals? I guess they mean far as distance, farther.
Distance. Yeah. So, no, it doesn't matter where they are. So like I had it once where, the person was in Canada, the animal was in Europe, I was in US. It really doesn't matter. All animals really communicate, I communicate to them the same way. There is one sort of exception, and that is with horses. And it's not the actual communication that's different. It's the approach to them that's different because they're very regal. They're very majestic. And so, you sort of approach them as like a commoner to the king or the queen. And so sometimes I'll say, do you mind if I talk to you? Would you be willing to talk to me? So I sort of introduce myself. I don't just start talking to them. But then the actual communication is exactly the same. It's just sort of the approach of, so why your dog is so terrified of storms. She freaks out. Yeah. Go to my website at ispeaktoanimals.com and you can book your own appointment and we can talk to her and find out. A lot of times
they make feels for that.
It's, they do, and they make shirts, thunder shirts. It's called a thunder shirt. Sometimes it's the sound because it's obviously if it's a thunderstorm. But here's a sort of an interesting story. I had a client that the dog was like 8, and all of a sudden it started going in the closet during storms, not just thunderstorms or lightning storms, but rainstorms. All of a sudden at 8 years old. And they couldn't figure out why. And so I talked to the dog, and the dog said that the house like buzzes during a storm and that it makes their skin crawl. And that she felt that maybe something was wrong with the house, like with the electrical or something, like maybe it wasn't grounded or something. And so, of course, the guy, he's like a cop and he's just rolling his eyes and he thinks that this is all crazy. However, he did call an electrician to come and check the electrical box. And the electrician told him that another house in the neighborhood had burned down because of the electrical box, and that these electrical boxes were all old and bad and like banned, and that he was getting a lot of calls from people from the same builder to change out the electrical boxes. So he said, so did you hear about that? And the guy was like, yes, that's what I heard. But they changed it, and then it stopped. The dog stopped going in the closet. So sometimes there's, really logical reasons why. So
makes sense.
So
can see Scott wants to know. I guess he's asking if like you saw a movie, could you tell what was going on in the movie in their mind? I guess that's the way I'm taking that question.
Yeah. So because I only need a photo or a video, yes, I can. And that's why I live in Montana, right? And everybody's like, oh, don't you love Yellowstone? And I'm like, I can't watch it because they kill so many animals in this thing. And it's like too hard on me. In the first 10 seconds of the first episode, he shoots his horse in
that's
the
a
head,
rough one.
right? So spoiler alert if you haven't seen that. And then they kill a bear. But luckily a lot of that is acting. And so when I really stop and break the fourth wall and like look at the horse, then I know that no, it's not being shot in the head. But I have to force myself to do that because I kind of get lost in movies. But yeah, people are always like, should I send you a video? Is that better? And I'm like, no, just send me a still photo. And it's especially if you're skeptical, which is fine. It's better, people say, should I do it in person because I'm skeptical? And I'm like, no, do it over the phone and send me a still photo. And the reason is this. Then I'm not reading your body language because I can't see you. I'm not reading your dog's body language because I can't see them, right? I just got the still photo. And so, from your photo that you sent me, Glenn, I told you about their personality, right? And from the ones that you sent me, I can't tell their personality, right? They're kind of nondescript. And I sort of went a long way around to answer that question, but I prefer just a still, photo. But a lot of times what the animal is thinking does not match what's going on in the movie. Right? They're like, I have to hit my mark. They're like thinking like an actor, or I was told
absolutely because they've been trained that way. Yeah. Have you ever worked with any we'll just call them celebrities or celebrity animals? You don't know names if you don't want to. I mean,
yeah, no, let me name drop. Actually, I do. I have a lot of famous clients. They just all happen to be animals. So my most current celebrity is Mage, the racehorse that just won the Kentucky Derby. Mage is my client. And then I have a lot of clients that are movie stars. So I had a black bear named Bonkers who was in a lot of movies, including Brokeback Mountain. So you probably saw that one. Also
Bobby did.
some
I missed
Kodiak
it.
bears that were in like Anchorman, the Ron Burgundy, a lot of Super Bowl commercials. There's one that's really cool where he goes into a store and just wrecks the store and then takes the Chobani yogurt and puts it on the counter. That's one of my clients. And so, yeah, I have actually a lot of famous clients. They're animals. One of my clients actually was in Dr. Dolittle too. She was Ava the bear. She was the female bear.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Are they stressed by having to do all that acting? I know you hear all the time about how the actors are so stressed and they go out and they drink and they party and stuff. Are the animals stressed? Or do they love it? I mean, I would think that's kind of what they're trained to do, but...
Right. So, it's kind of one of those things that if they do stress about things, they're not going to do a good job and they kind of get out of the acting, realm. So it's usually the ones that really like it and are good at it that kind of stay in it, sort of like our career, right? If you're not good at it, you're going to drop out, right? You're not going to make it. And it's kind of the same, with animals. So, usually when I talk to them, it's about things like, hey, you have this movie that you're going to do and you're going to be on set for a couple of months and, they're going to, yes, we'll take your favorite treats, but, we're driving 6 hours and, whatever it might be. And then, this is what we need from you. We need to, for you to catch this fish and, that kind of thing. So, Deacon, no, it does not have to be a recent photo. And people always say, do I have to see their eyes? Do you have to see their face? Do you have to have their whole body? No. One time I got a photo of it was this little kid standing in the house. And I'm like, I thought I was supposed to talk to a dog. Well, the kid was standing in front of the door that went out to the porch. And on the other side of the door was a dog, but that wasn't the dog. It was the dog next to it where you could see a corner of its butt. And it worked fine. Oddly enough, I don't ask me why. Still work fine. So
well, that was one of the things I worried about. That's why I sent 2 pictures of Millie. Yeah.
Yeah. So people always say, does it have to be like a really good picture? And I say the first one you find is fine. It's really it doesn't take that much thought. So.
Man, if only he'd been in Cincinnati in 2016, could have saved Harambe.
What happened?
The gorilla?
Who's that?
Harambe the gorilla?
Oh, right. Is that where the kid fell in?
Yeah.
That
was rough.
I just
life hasn't been the same
breaks my
since.
heart when animals pay for stupid things that people do. There was another one, I think it was in Tampa, where the little kid fell into the wild bush dog exhibit or something. And, but they were holding the kid like over the thing, I don't know.
But we can't punish parents for being stupid. So, but listen, I have probably taken more of your time. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like we talked about Blaze, the grizzly bear that paid for, this guy who had worked in Yellowstone for 5 years and knew that it was that this was a bear area and that there was a mother with cubs, and he was walking through, not paying attention, eating, wearing headphones, not looking up, and he got between, So not saying that makes it okay. It's a tragedy when anyone loses their life. It's it's not what I'm saying, but you kind of, if you're working in Yellowstone, you have to know the rules, right? And he kind of broke the rules, but
yeah. Well, even when I'm out camping, we know we don't have grizzlies here, but black bear, you don't mess with, get in between them. So I felt we had raccoons in my mom's attic last spring, and I had to call a trapper out, and she had babies, and we got mama out. One of the babies came out on its own, and I knew there was one still in there, but it was down behind a tub. I mean, we were literally had to torn the house apart. And I was like, we were like putting water up there. We couldn't get the silly thing to go to because Mama, apparently, we're assuming the guy that captured Mama said, we're not going to catch the babies this way. We got to get them outside because Mama's done told them don't fall for this. He said raccoons are incredibly intelligent, which I knew from growing up, from being around the vet clinic. He said, so we won't catch. He said, if we didn't catch them all in one night, he said, we won't catch the babies at all. He said, we've got to bait them outside. And we tried everything to get, we got the one out, but there was one and I knew it was still in there. And we had we had to remodel Mom's bathroom. And when the guys were tearing out the tub, I said, you're going to find a raccoon back there. And the guy's like, I've torn down many a house and an old barns and none of that. And I said, yeah, you're going to find a raccoon back there. There's a baby raccoon that never came out, and she wouldn't come. It was a female and she wouldn't come out. And, yeah, and the guy even tried to get down there, and she was like trying to attack him and stuff. She just knew not to come outside. She was terrified, and so she didn't make it. And I felt horrible about it, but so I've always had a thing for animals. I'm sorry.
I thought you were gonna say it lived back there the whole time. I didn't realize. Oh, now I'm sad.
Dude, be in the shower sometime and hear something scratching on the wall behind you. Yeah. Me and raccoons were not friendly. I'm telling you. But I knew it was a raccoon, so I was okay with that as long as it wasn't anything else. Deacon says you're an interesting lady. Yes, you are. You're one of the best guests I've had, and I've kept you way over your time. That's why I hit the wrong button there. I said, don't mess with the bears. Yep, that's true. So, and raccoons, round words, looking up scary stuff. Yes, raccoons can pass bad diseases. So yes, but
they can.
Bobby, did you have any more questions? Are we?
Oh no, I'm a spectator at this point.
Listen, you have been an amazing guest. I appreciate it, and I'm sorry I kept you over what I told you I would. You are welcome
it's
on
been
this
fun.
show anytime. You're great. I probably say this to every guest, but I mean, you've really spent a lot of time answering questions and talking with us, and it's appreciated. Tell everybody you told us about the podcast. Tell us where else they can find you, and more importantly, I'm sure we have not on the initial view, but afterwards we have a lot of public safety. So I'm hoping some canine officers and stuff with PD. If you do that type of work, how they can get in touch with you and what services. And hopefully, I'll just throw this out there. Hopefully, you give PD a discount because we don't make anything. So there's no such thing as a paramedic dog, comfort animal. So
There you go. There you go. Well, my brother and my nephew both are police officers, and my brother's retired now, but. So, I haven't done that in the past, but I should. First responders give some sort of discount. So maybe I'll consider that. So if you have a canine, yeah, definitely, get a hold of me. So the easiest way to find me is my website, which is ispeaktoanimals.com. And from there, there's a link to my podcast. There's a link to my Facebook page. There's a link to my Instagram. There's my email address. Thank you, Deacon. There's, basically everything you need. You can book your appointment there. So you can book your own appointment. It's super easy. And there's frequently asked questions. There's pictures of interesting animals. I'm not going to lie. I French kissed a black bear and I liked it.
Whoa.
So,
you didn't tell your
judge.
husband though, right?
No judging. No judging. Well, yeah, that's right. He licked my nose and I laughed and in went his tongue. And it was,
sneaky.
So, yeah. So you can find most everything, on my website at ispeaktoanimals.com.
Okay, cool. And one last question. Do the comfort animals, we see that a lot now, especially with the PTSD and since we've been involved in so many wars and post 9/11, you always hear that the animals reduce our blood pressure, but how does that affect the animals? Do you have any input on that? Because I love my dog to death, and when I get anxious and stressed, she's right there by my side. And when I was diagnosed with a incurable brain disease, and Sassy, the one I sent you a picture of, never left my side, by my side the entire time. Does that affect them though? Because I almost feel guilty, like, I'm over here drinking a beer, you should be drinking a beer, that kind of thing. I feel like it should be an equal exchange.
She's probably glad you're drinking a beer so that it brings your, calms your energy a little bit. Most of those, like really true service animals, not the ones that people just put the fake vest on, so they can take them on the airplane or something.
Comfort peacock.
Yeah, I'm always happy to see any animal except for the snakes, on the plane. But, those ones that really like have a job, most of the time they feel it's a very noble job. And they're feel very honored to do it. And, especially like cadaver finding dogs, those kind of things, and so they're usually very happy to do what they do and be an emotional support dog and things like that. There actually is something called mirroring, where they mirror our emotions and our, what's going on in our life. And so I have had dogs be like neurotic because their person is, neurotic and anxietous and things like that. They'll pick up our energy and they'll mirror it. And I've had it also where the animal gets the same disease that the person does, or the same symptoms as the person, has. And that's that mirroring, because they're so close to us, right?
Sure.
And so they're sort of bouncing the same energy back to us. But my dog, one of my dogs, Luna, she's right here. She's a rescue dog. She I travel so much that I don't always get to, be with them. They're usually here in Montana with my husband and our other dog. And when I come home, like I am now, she tells me, oh, now I can relax. Now I can, I'm so much calmer when you're here. It makes me so happy. And, I could tell her demeanor is even, calmer. So yeah, they're like people in a dog suit. A lot of times it's kind of amazing. Animals are amazing. They're great teachers too.
Oh, absolutely. I always laugh because you've seen the cartoons where you see the guys talking to the dog and all the dog hears is blah, blah, blah treat in its name, whatever its name is, and I always,
it's blah, 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 Ginger, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that they can understand you. Maybe not 100%, but I think they can understand you pretty well. So,
yeah. Yeah. So a lot of times I'll tell people, like if your dog is anxietous when you leave, and I'm just using dog as an example, then tell it where you're going, how long you're going to be gone, and, when you're going to be back. And they said, well, would they understand me? And I said, not some will. Some understand exactly what you're saying. Some will get kind of the gist of what you're saying. And some just get your energy that it's like, don't worry about it. I'll be back in 15 minutes, kind of thing. So, a lot of times they'll get that, at least part of it, but I have animals say things like, one quick example, and I know I'm like taking all your time here. But,
no, time is yours. We're glad to have you.
So I used to go to my nail tech's house to get my nails done. And she had 2 dogs. And so I was, very familiar with them, of course, over the years. And so one day I got there a little bit early and she was still doing someone else's nails. So I, of course, went on the floor with the dogs, right? And I was talking to the dogs. And this dog said to me, Leslie, we're moving. And so I said to her, you're moving? And she said to me, Cujo, we haven't even told the kids yet. Like, ixnay on it. So he overheard them saying, Cujo. So he heard, his name is Cujo. But he was like this goofball laugh. But he actually heard word for word and understood exactly what that meant. Where others that wouldn't have, happened at all. But he, he parroted back to me what they were talking about and was right. So, that's not something that's just a coincidence. Like, we're going to the store today, we're going for a walk today. Well, okay. Yeah. A lot of dogs go for walks every day, but this was like no mistake. So.
Well, I wish we have, I don't know if any of the dogs told you this, but we have a tiny terrorist. He's about to be 2 years old, and he's a new addition into the house. And it's been a big adjustment for all 3 of us. I say all 3 of us. I included myself with the cat and the dog there, but for everyone in the house, So yeah, I think we're like, okay, stay away from the baby. And Ginger, she's like, no, I got this. And the other one's like runs in terror. So I think they understand some, but not all the time. And then you have, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, where you have the toddler running with the bowl at him. That's the way I try and look at the kid to the dog. So yeah. So, but, all right. Well, I don't want to keep you any longer because I know we've kept you longer, but I'm glad you're here. Please come back after a while, a couple months or something. Heck, we could just keep you around for every show. I
thought you were going to say, I thought you were going to say every 3rd Wednesday. And I was going to be like, ooh, all right.
But hey, you never know. We could do it. I might have to get rid of Bobby and we can teach you to talk to aliens and stuff. So
hey, I'll get you over on my show and dive real deep.
Yeah, Bobby has a show as well, so maybe you can hop over to his, and we've got a little podcast family going on where we can hook you up with other people too, and you've got your family as well with the podcast. So But I appreciate
awesome.
your time.
It's been fun. It's been very
It
fun.
has been.
It really has.
It has been.
I needed it this week.
Yeah, well, I looked at the timer up here and I didn't realize we'd taken that much of your time. I was like, holy cow. So I apologize for that, but I am glad you're here. If you want to hang tight, you can either stay on the screen, I can put you in back, or you can go about your day. I received, as everybody saw in the text messages there, and I have to figure out, Bobby, my technical support guy, help me figure out some breaking news on some UFOs that were spotted over, where was this? It was in south of Middlesboro, Kentucky.
Don't say Montana.
No, it was south of Middlesboro, Kentucky, over Cumberland Gap area. Like, well, it was a weather balloon. So I'm going to show that here in a few minutes. So if you want to hang around, it's up to you. I might even try and see if I can get this fellow that shot the video that sent it to me to come online. So it's up to you. If you want to hang around, you're welcome. If you got stuff to do, I don't mind having you here.
Well, yeah, thanks. I actually do need to go eat dinner.
Okay, that is important. And your husband is probably like, what is she doing up there for so long? These people are driving me crazy. So
no, he's probably listening because, he is like I told you, he's a big fan of the paranormal, and he's taken me ghost hunting, and we have some really interesting evidence, that we caught a couple of times. So yeah, he's definitely interested in that, and he's got some great conspiracy theories.
Oh, this Friday on my show. This Friday on my show, I'm dealing with somebody that has Bigfoot on their property, so BobbyDizzle.com if you wants to check that out.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Wow.
And we just had Sarah from, was it Sarah? It was Sarah. I think it was Sarah. Bad. Sarah. From Kara. That's right. From Ghost Hunters. Was it Ghost Hunters? It was on the Travel Channel.
She was on an episode.
And she had some great stories. So yeah. And I'm putting together a Halloween special. So we're going to try and have a spooktacular Halloween night. So if he wants to come on and share some stuff, bring it.
That's awesome. Yeah. In fact, it was with the Ghost Hunter guys, Steve Gonzalez and Adam Berry, and I forget all their names, to be honest. And John. Oh, it's so bad that I forget his name. He was the one that had the haunted museum.
Oh, Zach?
No, it's not Zach Bagans. It was
okay, because he's a viewer here. Okay, no, it's cool. But tell him to message me, and we can get him on the show. Yeah, I don't know if he's one of your clients or what, but he suddenly became a fan of my show. So,
it's funny because my husband just met with Zach's curator for the museum to sell him some collectibles, because my husband buys and sells collectibles, and so that was kind of interesting. So he was hoping to meet Zach, but he didn't get to. So Zach, if you're listening,
yeah, he had been. So I don't know, we might have lost him at this point. He's a busy man, but he had been a listener. So, but
I'm a big fan of their show. But anyway, we went on a ghost hunt with the Ghost Hunter guys, and that's where we got a lot of the evidence. I have a handprint on the wall that I took with a fluor, thermal cam, that nobody was there, and as soon as we touched it went away. So
wow,
it's the craziest thing. So.
Cool. Yeah, tell them to get in touch with me. We'd like to see it and get it on. But
awesome.
You have a wonderful night. Tell your husband thank you for letting us borrow you. And make sure to tell Ginger that we'll probably be going back to Tennessee soon. So hang in there. So.
Will do.
Thanks for coming in.
Give me a call. Thanks a lot. I appreciate
we'll talk to you. Yes, ma'am. We'll have you again soon. Bye-bye. Oh, that was amazing. The time flew by, Bobby.
Yeah.
That was amazing. So I'm going to figure out how to share this video here. First, I'm going to pull it up on my computer. Well, you saw in the chat that somebody said, check your email now. So let's see here. Share screen.
Ooh.
Yeah, share
I don't know
screen.
why I got sleepy all of a sudden.
I took a lot of energy out of you. Let's see. Share window. That's best. All right. So here was the first one that came up. It was a picture.
Oh,
I guess I should. Yeah, I guess I should have blocked out the name. Sorry, Wayne. Yeah.
I think it's a smoke ring.
Well, at first I want to say migratory birds is what I was thinking.
No, dog. It's a smoke ring from something. Let's see the smoke around it.
Yeah.
It's a fire.
You think so?
Oh.
Okay. Well, I don't know why.
Pregnancy test.
Yeah. He had his vasectomy. Let's get off of that. Video. Sorry, Wayne. Can I make this full screen? No?
Maybe as full screen as it gets. Yeah, man.
Well, Bobby, but it's not moving.
They don't move fast. I don't know. That's what it looks like to me. I try to debunk.
Yeah, I mean, I do too, but the smoke will usually
fluctuating a little bit.
Yeah.
It's also really big. I don't know what it's from. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, I gotta agree there. I don't either.
See how it turns into like a loop?
Yeah, he says watch the video, so.
I mean, I want it to be an alien, but it looks like a smoke ring.
Yeah, I do too. I want it to be an alien. I want us to have breaking news in the ET UFO community. But as far as, and somebody asked if I can zoom in. No, I don't know that I know how to, but
can you, what kind of computer are you using?
I'm using just a PC, just a Windows 11.
Click, share that again and click on the screen it's in.
Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it to downloads, and I'm going to see if I can make it bigger from the videos.
You can do a Control Plus and zoom in on the screen.
That's true.
That way.
That's true, but I'm already doing this. So, yes, I'm going to try and zoom in. What?
Nothing. If I didn't know you weren't a baby boomer, it's sweet.
What? How dare you? And actually everybody else that's listening in, JT, Andy, feel free to jump in here at this time. You are welcome. Not that you weren't welcome before, but you're definitely welcome now. So, let's see. Share screen. Yes. And yes. And yes. Share. Show on string. There we go. And then double click the toggle. Yeah, I did that now. So there we go. I mean, I agree with it as far as smoke ring because of that and this. Are you still there? Are you still with me, Bobby? I wanted to say birds at first, but that's not birds. Could be smoke, but
I don't know what it's a smoke ring from, but that's a big
fire. Yeah. If okay, as a firefighter, if that is from smoke, I can tell you this much. So it would have to have been something cylinder, obviously, but it would have to have been a large combustion of a gas or heat suddenly, and it's rising. But the only problem was saying that the reason I say probably an oil or plastic is because of the color. I mean, that's just going by the color here, but it's not acting as a hot gas would if this video is accurate. This is the second picture they sent. And the other thing that makes me want to disbelieve it's a smoke ring, even though it's what it probably is, because is the way it hung together. So whatever kind of gas or heat that generated that, it kept it together. And so it was more of a...
It could be a meth lab blowing up.
It could have been. but that would have made that. Now that would have made it that way. Let's see here. Now can I make this full screen, Bobby? Does that do it? No.
It's got a 63% right there on the top.
How do you make it full screen? Full screen button. I didn't make it much bigger. No, it's not.
It twists around a little bit.
Yeah.
What city is it in?
He said it was south of Middlesboro, Harrogate, Tennessee. He couldn't use it. Well, I know the military's been doing some operations here lately. I think it's called Operation Centennial. And then, of course, you know, it's just, quote, training. Not that you can see me doing the air quotes, but
military training doesn't get my goat anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, everything they say is training. And this was the other video he sent. But it does appear to be stationary, but look at it now, it's dissipating. I mean, the definition of a UFO is something you can't explain, but I don't know that that's really, it's not moving enough for what I would think. So, oh, well, that's how a fire pump engine works. So, what?
Check the hot sheets.
Let's see. Let me, no, that's not what I want to do. I'll forward this to you, see if you can come up with anything better.
I feel like other people would have seen it.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't gotten anything, but I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention today. So,
the thing James Spann's talking about is drowned people at the beach.
Yeah. Let's see. Can I forward this one to you too? I'm sending these to you too, Bobby, so you can see if you can pull them up or make them any bigger, larger, whatever. Okay, send it.
At the video?
I tried to. Did it not go?
It did.
Okay. And I got another one coming. I'll send the second one. There we go. So you should have 2 videos and 2 pictures. And then I'll send this too. This is the location. But if that person is listening, yeah, if you can give us some more information about it, that would be great. And I will text them afterwards, after we get off the show, if they are listening. And I would love to know more about it. But if nothing else, we had some breaking news there. So I'm like you. I lean a little bit towards smoke ring, but
it's definitely very large. It's really big.
But it is very large. So, and if I'm going to assume that they probably live in the area and they would know why. You know what I'm saying? Why? And for coming from East Tennessee, especially because you would also have, that's small area, small community. Most of the time, everybody knows what's going on. And if there is something major going on, you would have either a lot of activity or they'd know about it in advance. So kind of weird, but yeah, I'm going to text, if he's listening, I will text you or text, I'm not sure of his name. So, the guy that the name you saw on the screen wasn't the person that saw it. So before everybody gets crazy and tries and goes and outs, and my buddy Wayne, he's just a good old country boy. So, well, Bobby, how has your week been? Anything new and exciting going on?
No, not really. Been getting ready for 5 days off this weekend.
Oh, that's right, holiday.
Ooh, yeah, I took it off. I'm getting to the point in my life where I have to, I'm looking for quality of life, and so I've got 200 hours of leave, and so I'm putting in for I'm not going to be the person. Oh, I'll just work the day before the holiday. No, I'm taking weeks. I'm taking the week of every holiday off. I'm tired.
There you go.
I'm 40 years old.
Do you get like we couldn't take the day off and get holiday pay? They call that like double dipping or something. So unless you have a policy, no, that's good. Yeah, I forgot that is this weekend.
For all holidays.
Yeah, well, no, a lot of times at the fire service, you had to work the day before. If you worked the day of, you had to work the day before to get holiday pay because they considered it double dipping if you didn't. So, I don't know, stupid rule.
I work for the Army, so I just get the day off.
Well, the Army is the reason we're having that day. Well, we've ran over 2 hours, and none of our regulars seem to be jumping in here. So,
Brenda got them all mutinous against you.
Probably. I'll probably have to go and see if I'm blocked in my own group. So
I hope
Brenda's. I'll just act like an old bear and start a new one, you know. So
I got something interesting. I got blocked from work. I can't do anything in groups for like 10 days. I think my term is nearly over, but.
Well, I thought I had TikTok figured out this afternoon, and I was ready to go live because you can go live on the computer with TikTok. And I'm learning and reading all these things, getting set up, and I'm sitting there clicking, doing everything, and I'm missing this one little teeny tiny thing. You must have 3,000 followers.
Yep.
I'm like, oh! I've only got like 1,800 or something like that. So, and I swear, I think it's a lot of people that don't know me from Asia. So I get some of the weirdest and strangest messages. I joked last week, or actually in the Misfits guy, about getting the boob shots. I get so much weird stuff. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's just TikTok, unbelievable. So, yeah. And so, yeah, I bet I get 100 messages a day. So if somebody sends me something serious and I don't see it, send it again or something else, because good Lord, I get crazy stuff in the TikTok, especially. I get everything from hello, great show to you're nuts to just whatever. And Snapchat is like a boob for you. So I get more pictures of boobs on there than you can find on the internet. I'm not complaining, but hey.
I know what else I did this week. I went to a haunted house that was really haunted.
That's right. And you had a show about it.
Yeah, and the audio corrupted. My camera died beforehand.
Typical haunted house.
And the video corrupted. I spent 3 freaking days uploading that stuff. Like, this is stupid. I was there for 45 minutes. I felt it was raining and it was 90 degrees. So I thought I felt something on the back of my neck. It was just a sweat because I got like the skin fade.
You were like hypersensitive to it.
Yeah, but at one point, whenever we went through, because it's a warehouse, it's got a maze built into it for like a Halloween fun house. Okay. And so it's like double whammy. It's like you're in a place that's got fake blood everywhere and it's actually haunted. And so that's cool. And you walk at the end of it, he goes, I'm going to shut this place down. You want to do a final? We walked through it 3 times. The first time was the tour where he showed me everything and had a light. The second time was a K2. We were looking at places he got hot spots just to debunk it. Because one place was a mirror that was a medicine cabinet that just had a metal rim around it. When you put a K2 in the middle of that mirror, it lit up all the way. But if you go up and around and follow it, it goes to an exit sign. So there's an exit sign wire going behind it. And so we think the mirror. We think the mirror was the square thing on the mirror, the square metal part, was like drawing in the energy, kind of like a little antenna. That's why it was so strong there, because you go up. So we debunked that. But then we're going around, didn't get anything else. I guess I'm not a magnet for the paranormal. But I saw shadow figures and stuff. But we went back through the third time, lights off, no camera, just me. And he kept letting me walk through these places first. I'm like, dude, you better not be scaring me. And he did. He was right behind me. I kept looking. I'm like, he seemed like a legit dude, so I didn't think he would. But why wouldn't he? I mean, you got some guy you didn't know from Adam in a haunted house. Yeah. The only advantage I had is my hometown, and I knew everybody in a 20-mile radius. But on our way out, there's a spot where there's like it's a hell house, haunted house. So there was a van that's creepy, black van, Scooby-Doo, Chevy A-Team looking van, just in the middle of this place. And we stood there for about 5 minutes trying to get a K2, talking to it. If anybody in here wants to come and meet the new guy, yada, yada, yada. We left out of there into the big warehouse area that was open where they store things. And about halfway down that, I got a cold chill, like a shivering cold chill, like stuff and that's the only for like 2 seconds. I felt that. And I can't promise it wasn't because I'd been rained on and the wind was blowing, but it did not feel like a cold, like a temperature cold chill. It felt like somebody walked over my grave. Like, I said, I wonder if that was something, but that's just me wishful thinking. It was fun though. I've never been to a haunted house before without being on a tour in Savannah or something. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, something we didn't ask her about animals. Can they see? Because a lot of people say animals can see the spirits and we can't. We should have asked her. I'll email her and ask her.
She actually mentioned that animals talk to other people's.
Yeah, like passed on the message from Uncle Herb. So that's weird, but
okay. How the hell's it 10 o'clock?
I know it's the time's flown by. It's 11 o'clock.
Like it's 6 p.m.
This was such a good episode and it went by so quick. So, and I appreciate you, Bobby, for being here. And since nobody else is jumping in, we've hit the 2-hour mark. I don't like keeping my guests, my fans. I guess my fans, whatever you call the people who like to watch the show.
Your loyal fans.
My loyal fans.
How about the guy from Twitch saying he saw an animal kid? I was like, oh my God. Twitch people are such assholes, man. They're the gamers, the gamer lobby.
Yeah, I know. I just left that comment down there. I didn't even put it up there. Yeah, he hit 3 dogs. Yeah.
I think I'm definitely going to get a Twitch account whenever I start paying for my streaming service. Because I kind of want that trollage in there.
Well, I'll tell you what, and you'll get Trollo. Which Trollo apparently is popular in the Asian community, which apparently just upset. But,
okay.
Yeah, you got it. Trovo. Yeah, it's like the Korean Twitch. So, but yeah, and I will be honest with you, Streamlabs, do not get the Pro, get the Ultra for the $4 more a year. There are like 12 apps that come with it that I wish the hell I could get, but they told me I got to use my year up first. So. Oh, Asian Glenn from The Walking Dead. I got you. That was that. So, that one wasn't you. So, but that one was you. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm not trying to plug Streamlabs, but for $150 a year and you get 12 apps where you can do all of the editing and stuff like simple. You don't have to import, export, do all kinds of things. It's all right there. It's and plus, it's got a lot of other cool features. So get the Ultra, don't get the Pro. So, but yeah, I'm gonna start leading us out of here. Everybody, next week, Saturday is the Misfits show, and we've added a couple new Misfits, so you need to check that out Saturday nights. And then next week, who have we got lined up? I bet you don't know, Bobby. I should probably know off the top of my head. Well, I'm doing
a show next week with somebody.
Well, who are you doing a show with? While I'm doing this, you can tell me who you're doing.
I'm going to be on Beyond the Woodline podcast about Bigfoot.
Oh. Next week is a special show. I've got a double feature, so you're just going to have to tune in and find out. You're going to have a 9 o'clock guest and a 10 o'clock guest. A hint. One draws comic books. I'll leave it at that. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you next time. And yeah, it's my music again, so I just put it on loop. So we will see you next week. Tune in Saturday for the Misfits. Check out BobbyDizzle.com. Make sure to go over and subscribe to our guest podcast as well. She's got a great show, I bet. So we will catch you soon. Bye now. Bye. You find the camera. Bye.